for me, I've never been the person that's, like see an artist or an entertainer or anybody that's in Hollywood and like faint and cry. You know what I mean? That's never been me. And I've never understood those people, right? I've never understood like those Michael Jackson concerts, right? They be, even though they females, right? They be crying and tearing up and fainting and all kinds of shit, right? And I never understood why a human being could be like that, knowing that another human being is just like them, though. You feel me? Like literally, we're all human beings. God gave that man a talent right there, and he's used that talent to further himself, right? But like God has entrusted all of us with our own talents, right? With our own skill sets to do the things that are meant to be done in this lifetime, right? And I think the error where a lot of people run into, right, they want to have they will work. They want it to be one way when they ain't really inside. It feels differently. Like God, the GPS is telling you to go left, but you want to go right because you've seen a Dairy Queen over there that you want to stop and get you a milkshake or some shit, right? But for me, I've never understood how somebody could think that another human being is greater than you. You feel me? Like never ever. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. Certain statures of life, right? They elevate you and put you in different places, and people admire those positions. You feel me? But like I don't know. For me, I can't forget that end of the day shit. I always be knowing like I'm a motherfucking. We all got our own talent, right? And those talents that God puts in us, right? They have purpose for what needs to be done in this lifetime, right? They need to be watered on a regular basis, and who knows how far they can take you, right? In comparison to how far somebody else is, but right. I guess different personalities, different things. But for a cat like myself that's always been money motivated, you know what I mean? Material driven, you can say that. I've always been that. You feel me? Like that's always been me, and it still is. But I'm at a point now where I'm like hella intentional with my life, right? I'm super intentional with the people I keep around me. The conversations that I have, the topics of conversations that I have, and where I spend my time at and how I spend my time, and what's taking up the resources in my mind, right? And I love all that gangster shit, man. I love that gangster shit. That gangster shit used to be me, and still there's like a piece of it always embedded in me, right? Like no matter how old I get and shit, like there's always that piece of me that I can find fragmentations of that. If I ever want to resort back to, I could pull back into that if I want to. But life is about evolution, right? The physics of life is that you evolve, right? There's no devolving. This ain't Benjamin Button. Motherfuckers don't get older but go younger. It don't work like that. Motherfucking the laws of physics, right, is that we evolve as motherfucking humans and people, right? Men, right? So being that I love that gangster shit, man, I caught myself the other day listening to this motherfucking first Do or Die album, right? And for all y'all don't know, if y'all ain't familiar with Do or Die is like one of the groups out of Chicago that brought Twista out. And Twista was already popping, but I mean, this really gave him some good recognition. This is around the time, he dropped one of his album, that Adrenaline Rush, and that's a classic. That Twista album right there is an undisputed motherfucking classic, right? But I was listening to that first Do or Die, right? And on that Do or Die, one of the first songs that comes on right there is this motherfucking this shit. Last thing is how it go. Last thing that I seen is when he cried, shot him in the face and walked away before he died, and it plays that over and over again. It'd be last thing is I saw is when he cried, shot his ass in the face and walked away before he died, or some shit like that.
When he cried, shot him in the face and walked away before he died. The last shit that I saw was when he cried, shot him in the face and walked away before he died.
It repeats that till that motherfucking beat drop, and that beat is hard than a motherfucker. You feel me? That's a hard ass beat. And I had to catch myself though, being as intentional as I am. I had to turn that shit like, man, I ain't trying to hear this type of shit today. You know what I mean? Sun's out, palm trees and shit. I'm out here with these palm trees and shit. Like, shit is just like, and I had to really catch myself like, why am I listening to this shit though? I mean, don't get me wrong, like the shit, memories, and I fuck with all that shit, but like, my soul just couldn't hear that shit though. Feel me? Like my soul, like my soul was agitated by that shit. And it made me think a little deeper on the note that, it's crazy how much of this motherfucking music we consume and all that shit is motherfucking is death. You feel me? It's murder, it's kill, it's motherfucking. And a lot of these motherfuckers that be rapping this shit though, and I get it because it's the shit that sells, it's the shit that everybody wants to hear, but the motherfuckers even delivering the message ain't really with that shit like that neither. I mean, these motherfuckers a fist fight away from becoming a straight bitch, you know what I mean? Like, but it sound good though. I mean, it sound good over the beat. And I'm a motherfucker from, like I be telling you all the time, like the beats is what I fuck with. Growing up, West Coast shit, the beats is what I fuck with. Like I need the beat. The beat is what made the track to me. A motherfucker could be weak in his lyrics, basic as a motherfucker, you know what I mean? But the beat, if the beat is captivating and get you, all for it. But it's crazy how much of that shit, right, is motherfucking, it's just death though. That's all it is. All the shit a motherfucker listening to all day long is destruction and killing and murdering, and then motherfucker be on them video games killing and all kinds of shit. No wonder a motherfucker walk outside and be in this jungle of a world that we live in and be ready in a snap of a fingers to knock a motherfucker down and not even trip on it, not even give a fuck, not even have a conscience to that shit. You feel me? And that's the shit that get me. You feel me? Because I don't know, I like psychology and shit like that. So I'm always trying to figure shit out and motherfucking being an Aquarius and shit. So even in the pen though, being around all those different kind of individuals, you feel me? Like, all these motherfuckers with, just watching them and how they move and their psychologies and when you up close on a lot of this shit, I don't know, the criminal element is always, always been intriguing to my mind, because not only do I got a criminal element to me being young and going through all the dumb shit and, learning my way into these other worlds, right? But like it being that it's so antisocial, why are we so antisocial to what's supposed to be social? Why is that? And a lot of times, for me, it comes back to the motherfucking damage the world does to you when you're young though, right? Like it steals your purity, your essence, and it hardens you in all these areas. And that's where, motherfuckers get the word hard from, right? We talk about this on the channel all the time, right? The word hard, and that's what motherfuckers strive to be, right? That's what your rappers, your big homies, all these motherfuckers, young men, they striving to be hard, right? That's what they want to be, is hard than a motherfucker. But, hard comes from wanting to make sure you don't get hurt or damaged again. You felt some kind of pain and you don't want to feel that motherfucking pain again, even though in the evolution of life and growth, you got to feel pain. You got to go through those motherfucking seasons and those seasons can be lasting you a couple years where you just down on your ass and everything hurt. You lose family, people, whatever it may be. But ultimately, you can't be so hard that you can't feel. You can't be so hard that you can't evolve. You feel me? Like, and it trips me when I look at a lot of like the 90s gangbangers and shit and just think about how many motherfuckers never got to live and see their full potential because they bought into this ideology, they bought into this belief. And for young men, right, we don't have a rite of passage that goes from being boys to men, right? Like, for us, it be those initiatory type of rites of getting quoted to a hood. For me, I step back and I realize that shit though. You know what I mean? Like, that initiatory, the gang play that role, and it gives you that ritualistic feel like you going from a boy to a man, but really, you ain't going to a man. That's why a lot of these rappers and these record labels and all they do is promote this motherfucking like criminal lifestyle and like living on the other side of the law and all that shit right there, because to them, you know what I mean, it's just money and it fills the world. But they know young motherfuckers buy into this shit, and even when I say young motherfuckers, that doesn't mean that there ain't 30, 40-year-olds buying into it too. They young-minded. There can be a cat that's 20-some years old and he be older-minded and more mature-minded. That's why they say mature, right? Because you've seasoned, you feel me? But, I don't know. When I listen to the motherfucking music nowadays, it'd be hard for me to listen to the shit that's constantly talking about killing and drilling and shit. And I know I'm in another world and season of my life at this point in the game, right? Like, I'm not on the blacktop with it. I'm not out there around it like that no more. Even though that always will be an element of me and a piece of me and a motherfucking a fragmentation of of the multifaceted person that I am, that shit is always a piece of me, right? It's not on me, it's in me completely, always will be. But you know, like I can't listen to that shit though. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't be one to, you know, I need to hear that Larry June type of shit. I need to hear that Payroll Giovanni. I need to hear, you know, and sometimes, you know, they get to talking too much, just darkness, you know what I mean? And I don't know, I be picking up on that shit and my soul don't be liking that shit. My soul be on like a higher frequency and a higher vibration. I don't know if y'all can even feel that, but that's where I be at with it. And it trips me out though, because, you know, a lot of times, you know, the biggest killer, the biggest gangster, you know what I mean? He's the most well-respected and he's looked up to the most, or at least at one point in time, like they really was, right? But it's crazy because, you know, these be the motherfuckers that be, you know, once again, shining the shoes in the motherfucking, in the penitentiary system, you know, counting down calendars, waiting to get back out here on some real shit, just like any of us that would be going behind the walls, you know what I mean? But it's crazy to see that's what a motherfucker aspire for, live for, get there, and then motherfucking want to change it all just to get, you know what I mean? Like it's, they realize, it clicks, you know, when it's too late, you feel me? And that's the cold kicker about a lot of this shit. And I don't know. A lot of that music that we be listening to, a lot of that shit that be out there, man, that shit ain't good for a motherfucker, man. That shit ain't good to repeatedly just keep pumping in your brain over and over again. And, you know, I don't know, for me, it's like, if any of y'all ever seen the movie The Matrix, right? They got the red and the blue pill, right? Now, anytime you learn something that's enlightening to your soul on a spiritual level that you know is just true, and you can't even argue it, right? You can never unsee that shit again when you take that pill of knowledge, right? When that knowing, right? You can take that pill of knowing, you can never be ignorant to shit again, right? And life has allowed me to have a lot of those pills right there where I've seen and understood and know, and I can't unsee some shit. And one of the things I can never unsee is the fact that I know the origins of music and I know where that shit come from. And I know, you know, at the end of the day, you think about the origins of music, and then you think about who Pan was and where the magical flute and all these things come into play at, right? Now, these ain't just mythological motherfucking ideologies. These are actual tangible facts and proven. It's just they don't teach us at large in the normal school, right? But yet, no wonder all the music we listen to and all the artists that are exalted above us, right? You know what I mean? Like we become fans, right? Fans of these stars, right? That's what we're fans of, the stars and shit. And these are just regular motherfucking people just like us, but ultimately they've used that talent. But then again, they've used that talent in a corrupt manner, right? Because they're selling us motherfucking death. For a lot of them artists, you know, and they're selling their soul for a motherfucking jelly roll because they're really not eating like a lot of this shit is just show and motherfucking, you know what I mean? It's Hollywood smoke and mirrors, but they are still being the vessels and being the instruments that get on that track or get on that beat that they've already known that's gonna pull many motherfucking ears too, right? These motherfuckers right here are vessels and instruments of the motherfucking enemy at hand to lead motherfuckers astray, especially the youth, because the youth are the most motherfucking easily influenced. Especially you think about how divided these households is, and I know how they was divided in my era, and how they even worse now. So you think about the households, right, that been divided. There ain't no mother and father in there. And a lot of these young men without a father figure, believe me, they gonna go astray. No matter how good they mama is, no how loving they is, granny, auntie, you know what I mean, uncle, whoever, right? There ain't a real stern father figure in a young boy's life in those years of impression. He gonna look up to these motherfuckers that's selling the deception though. 100%, no doubt about it. And when a motherfucker buys into that shit, it swerves them off the course. And these motherfucking rappers and entertainers and shit like that, they instruments, and you got to be very careful with that shit. You feel me? That music, that shit you repeatedly play in your mind over and over and over again. You know, you got to be very careful with it. So I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me. Y'all tell me what the fuck is wrong with me, because I can't unsee that shit. And sometimes my soul just be agitated by that motherfucking music. But I mean, still, that's the only shit. I mean, if I don't listen to that shit, I'll listen to some more player shit. But I can't really venture too far out of anything that ain't got that melodic funk type. You know what I mean? Like the music, the rhythm gotta move me. If the rhythm don't move me, I can't fuck with it. I can't get into the loud screaming music, the heavy metals, the rock. man, I can't country. I can't fuck with none of that shit, man. I be R&B, and it killed me because even when the R&B shit, you know, I came up under the R. Kelly eras and shit. Like R. Kelly got classics, but I listen to the man music and I get to think about all the weird shit and I gotta skip too. So it's like, you know, fuck, motherfucker, you ruined all these classics, these memories. Motherfucker can't even unearth these motherfuckers. Like they're all dead. All this shit is just dead. But you know, all this shit once again is a hell of a, you know, I don't know. Y'all let me know. Y'all ever be thinking like I be thinking, or it just be me? Me in these older years. Y'all let me know down there in the comments. To the next one. I'm gone.
Be careful, young lady, what you let yourself listen to. Be careful, young man, what you allow in your earbuds. Be careful, because you don't know what music does to you psychologically as it plays.